what's kind of happened for you during all this time, and with the business and treating people and all that? What's been happening?
Yeah, so during peak COVID time, I would say we cut back to 3 times a week. And then I think in the middle of May, we picked up to about 5 times a week. And then now we're back to the normal schedule where I'm working full time every other Saturday. So still treating people and preaching the gospel.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I mean, your stuff really kind of rubbed off on me. I mean, I finally, and nobody wanted any of this, obviously, with what's happened. But I finally took it as I said, okay, I got a little extra time here, and I really got to make a change. I was like, I finally decided to get out there and run every day. I mean, we couldn't go to the gym, right? I mean, the gym was closed down, and it's like, no offense to the gyms, but like, I'm thinking I could just get out, put my shoes on, go out and run, get a 15, 20 minute, half an hour, 45-minute run in. And it took away a lot of the, I got to get ready. I got to go drive. I got to go to the gym. I got to spend an hour and a half, and then come back. And it's like, we don't have 2.5 hours, now, right? You know what I mean? It's like, I was able to kind of get this done quick. And I'm thinking, this is what I'm going to try to do in the future, and keep moving this way. It was
Yeah,
just
so
so
you,
much
you
easier.
sort of felt like COVID was a reset, like it gave you a chance to do all these things that you had wanted to do, and then now you finally had the time to do it, right? You had time to take back control over your health.
Yeah, I mean, I told you, and it's like, I guess you got to be careful what you wish for, but it's like, I kind of did want extra time. I said, I'll never have a consistent schedule. Like, I'll never be able to wake up at the same time, get up at the same time because of all the travel, right? And all the games. And then boom, it's all done. And then for the last 3 months, it's probably been the most consistent schedule I've probably ever had. I mean, if I think about it, right? I mean, college, no, and then when I got my job, at Delaware doing games, and it was never really that consistent, I don't think, or I never really made it that consistent.
And it seemed like COVID for most people could have gone either way. Like I've talked to so many patients that were like, yeah, I put on, 15, 20 pounds because I was just sitting around the house. I had nothing to do. I was eating more because, I was just procrastinating and I was just putting food down my gullet basically. And, you took it in the exact opposite, which, it seems like it's divided us between the ones that actually could find a routine during this time period and the ones that couldn't find any sort of schedule. They weren't motivated to do anything, but it felt like you were motivated in like the back of your mind. You just didn't have enough time.
Yeah, exactly. And the travel and all that. But it's really an excuse, though, right? I mean, we all kind of talk about it as an excuse. And I said this to you, I think before. I'm really tired of making my physical and mental health secondary, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it was. It was never a priority for some reason. And now once you actually think about it and go, why is my health ever not probably the number one thing that I should be focusing on, because you'll never be able to do the other things you want to do if you don't have that. And for some reason, it was always like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time. It's like, I don't want to let that ever creep back in. I know I say ever and it's difficult, but it's like, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll talk to patients all the time about, chiropractic treatment plans, for instance. And, it's a lot of the times it's a time commitment. And, you can really tell with the people that want to invest their time into that treatment plan, like these are the people that want to get out of pain.
And that's the thing too, because what are you giving them for advice? For somebody that just kind of comes in, whether it's, chiropractic care, but you got to do your own thing too. You guys do way more than that. It's nutrition, it's chiropractic care, it's sleeping well, it's eating well. I mean, there's so much stuff that's involved to it.
Yeah, patients are constantly asking me like, what kind of stuff can I do to get out of pain? Like, what are the things I'm doing throughout my life, just on the ordinary day that I'm doing wrong? And it's so tough to break it down, right? You could sleep the perfect way, you could jog the perfect way, you could eat the perfect way, and you're still going to generate general aches and pains in your life, right? Like people always assume that, if you're doing things the right way, you're not going to have any struggles because you're doing it right. But that's just not the case. Things are, your body is going to, there's certain parts that are going to get damaged, and then you just basically need to repair it.
What's cool is I know you and I have talked about this a bunch, like all different segments of stuff, whether it was like what kind of milk to buy, Or there are certain power bars that are good for you. What about protein shakes? Certain vegetables, different like potato chips or tortilla chips that are organic, for you. During this time, I was able to kind of identify, like you and I have talked about a few times, about what is one thing I can do that is a little bit better, that eliminates a little bit of this or that. Like just simple little stuff, right? Like the milk. I mean, almond milk, soy milk, whatever. Hey, there goes a couple grams of sugar, right? That's no
Right.
big deal. Or unsweetened almond milk. I mean, I was taking almond milk in my coffee, right? I'm like, wait a minute, why am I doing that? Like, why don't I just use the unsweetened, and then who knows? Like, there's just a little bit, right? Like, it's little steps.
Yeah. So is that what happened? So I got to ask. So when did you cut out milk from your? Did you cut it out completely? Did you just start replacing it? Like, how did that happen for you?
Yeah, no, I just started like replacing. I mean, all I have is like a little bit of milk in my coffee, and I just went from skim milk to almond milk, and then to unsweetened almond milk, and then if I ever want to have like, I guess a glass of milk or whatever, it's just unsweetened like almond milk, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I use that for the smoothies. So every morning now, I've been doing like a protein shake, a plant-based protein powder with unsweetened almond milk in there. And I figured, yeah, that's going to cut down on any other unnecessary sugars that I don't need, right?
Yeah. And I was talking to you last week when we saw each other about how important it is. So you were just saying you were doing the breakfast shakes in the morning. And I was just reading a research article recently how important it is to have a lot of carbohydrates in the morning. How it just starts your day off right. You have higher energy levels. And when you have it in a shake form, it's that much easier to digest. It kind of skips, it bypasses the stomach a little bit because your stomach has to do less work. So it's really cool. So I imagine you noticed the difference once you started making that your breakfast.
Oh yeah, I mean that, and then I have like a banana, and I'll have the protein shake. But this is what I want to ask you. So I've identified, like, right during this time, that for me to do this and to stay on this pace, I've got to like do my run in the morning. Like I got to work out in the morning per se. Like I've always tried to go, oh yeah, I'll do it at 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. The day gets away from you. We got a young daughter, or I'm on the road traveling. It just never happens. So all right, I'm getting up and I'm working out in the morning. So what do you think? Like, what do I do? Do I go grab a banana, a little bit of food or something first, then do the run? Do I get up, do the run, and then have the shake after? Like, what would be your like organization there in terms of what you just said?
So it depends on when you're working out, like how long after you wake up you're working out. So if you wake up and then, in 10 to 15 minutes, if it's in the first 30 minutes of you waking up, you're going to work out, I would say skip breakfast. It's just easier to work out without something in your stomach. I'm sure you know that feeling of having something in your stomach when you're running around and you're like, that doesn't feel right. If you're going to eat anything, a banana before your workout. I've heard some plant-based fitness people talk about how bananas are a great like pre-workout. Um, Once again, high in carbohydrates and really good energy-wise. But no, I think working out fasted in the morning is probably the best way to go. You feel good. Your metabolism hasn't quite kicked in yet. So you're not starting to feel that hunger like within the first, 30 minutes to an hour of waking up, depending on your schedule. But so long story short, I would definitely say start jogging right away in the morning. And then once you come back with done your workout, put down one of those smoothies. And that's going to be great for recovery time.
Okay. All right. So that works. So maybe, yeah. And because I felt the same way. I like to kind of just get out there and go. If I'm like eating something, maybe it's a little not heavy, but I didn't want to have that as I'm going out, running around.
Right. Exactly.
And the shake afterwards. So you get the protein shake in afterward. Um, hey, how important is this? Which I don't think requires a lot of effort on really anybody's part if they could just stay disciplined to it. And it's was drinking water. I mean, 6 to 7 bottles of water is what I've been doing now. And I'll tell you what, like I haven't probably stretched as good as I have needed to. We've talked about that. But I think because of the water that I've been drinking every single day, I've been running like every day, like, and I'm not hurting. I'm not like that sore, or I don't have as much pain as I used to. And I'm thinking like this has to do a lot with drinking the amount of fluids I've been drinking every single day. Do you agree?
Yeah. So two things there. So the first one is, you had been running for a while, so your body started getting used to that. So it was probably feeling less sore, just from your body sort of. We always talk about how plastic the body is, body plasticity. Like the body's constantly going to adapt to the stresses that you put on it with the environment. Um, so there's that, and then also, yes, the fluids that you were consuming absolutely played a part. Water's going to flush out some of those lactic acids. Those are going to be the cramps that you feel after running. If you're high, that's why basketball coaches, any sort of coach in sports, is always telling their team to stay hydrated. They don't want somebody pulling up with a Charlie horse in their calf, right? So it's directly coordinated with the correlated, is what I meant to say, with the fluids that you're intaking.
Yeah, it's not really, I mean, it's not like just, it's not a myth, I mean, it's really good advice, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think we do that enough.
It's
That's the
tough
biggest.
though, because I've done it before. I remember my fiance now and I, we when we were doing long distance dating, we did a water challenge with each other. It was kind of funny. We said that I think it was 80 ounces of water a day. And so I'm not sure how much you're drinking a day, but 80 ounces was just crazy. I mean, it's one of the best I ever felt when I was doing it, but I was going to the bathroom all the time because,
Right.
it was just so much fluid intake.
We should open that up to people here. Maybe we just came up with something, like you just did it, with your fiance, but the water challenge. I think
Yeah.
if people did the water challenge, I'd love to see, like, if people follow this and how much better they feel just by doing that. I know it sounds crazy, but you got to get up when you get up, right? You should at least have a bottle then. I mean, you've been sleeping hopefully for a good 8 hours if you were able to do that, or 6 or 7, whatever it is. So your body has to be dehydrated initially, right when you wake up, you would think, right? So you got to get one bottle in right off the bat. So there's one. After a run or a workout, there's two. Breakfast, maybe, right? You can have one there.
Yeah.
Lunch, dinner. So it doesn't sound as difficult to do if you think about it that way. So for me, I've already kind of essentially had 4 or 5 just based on my regular day. And then you dump in a couple extras and there you go.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to do it, I remember her and I had it. We had a 20 ounce like bottle, like a glass bottle that we would carry around, and we would mark off on the bottle whenever we did one and then two. And obviously, 20 times 4 is 80. So we would have to do 4 of those glass bottles a day. So, I think it would get tricky if you had, just a glass here and then a plastic cup there. You were using different sources. It makes it easier on yourself with a challenge like that, to count if you just have one container that you're drinking the water from. So yeah, I mean, that would be a great challenge for anybody watching this video to do. I think they would. Our bodies are comprised mostly of water. Every single cell in our body, it's so important to have water. You know, I think back to from an evolutionary perspective, like shamans and everybody, they had you know they talked about water and life, and how the two went hand in hand. And I feel like everybody nowadays is just so busy. I talk to so many patients all day long about they're just at home, they're working from home remotely, they're sitting for 3 to 5 hours, maybe even more at a time. And these people are busy doing their jobs. They're not standing up, walking around, they're not drinking water like they're supposed to. All these things that our body is designed to do, and people aren't doing it right now. So I see a lot of people running into some health deficits because of it.
All right, so this is what we're doing right now. It's Dr. Mike and Mike, and we're putting out the all call on the water challenge, 80 ounces. You've
Mm-hmm.
already done this before. I'm doing it now. That's 5 bottles, okay? Because it's 16.9 ounces. You know the deal with the bottled water. So 5 times 16, 80 ounces. There you go. 5 bottles a day. Do it, everybody. 5 bottles. I'm calling it right now. What do you think?
Yeah, and then you guys got to tell us how you feel. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you're gonna feel so different. It's awesome.
Yeah. Now, hey, this is what's helped me a little bit too. So I went a little step further to just kind of keep myself honest. I set up an app here. It's called the Habit app. It's just Habit, HABIT, and you can go through and you can type in all the different things you want to do each day, and then
Wow.
when you finish it, you just hit done, and it keeps track of it. So I have the one for drink bottle of water, and I have 6 on here, and every time I do it, I could just, when I finish the bottle, I just press it and it dings, and it keeps track of how many bottles of water I drink. So the Habit app kind of helped me a little bit there. What do you think of that? Do you do anything like that on your phone?
Yeah, well, I think, scheduling stuff like that is unbelievably important. Sorry, it made me think of like positive reinforcement, like Pavlovian, like how like, you click the button, it rings the bell, and then all of a sudden, it's a dopamine like rush in your head. You're like, yes, I did it. I did, another bottle. I'm killing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good, but it's been helpful. So I kind of use that. So that's another thing I kind of started to do was just to, and I don't want to make a lot of lists. I used to have a ton of post-it notes and this and that and try to keep track of all this stuff. And, another big thing I was doing during this whole, shutdown is to just kind of do a little bit less. It was like I was frantic. I was all over the place. Had so much stuff going on, right? I know everybody is. I was like, what can I just kind of trim back, and say, get rid of that list, get rid of that folder. We just keep track of it right here on the phone. Try not to be too crazy with it, but it just kind of keeps me honest, throughout the day. So that's helped me.
That's awesome. What about diet wise? Did you change anything diet wise as you went through this transformation?
Yeah. So I was like, I said to myself, no more like food or snacking like after 8 o'clock at night. So I tried to shut it down at least 2 hours before bed. I mean, and I was trying to get to bed by like 10:15, 10:30 at the latest. And I'm also not really drinking any water after that too. Because I said, okay, I'm going to get, you don't want to try to get up 5 times in the middle of the night. I mean, nobody wants that, right? I'm still getting up probably like once in the middle of the night, but I was like, well, if I drink water right before or too much liquid, that's only going to make you go another one. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me just not drink any liquid and have any food, after 8:30 at the latest, if I can help it. And I literally cut out like all the snacking. Like, I mean, I used to always have like, Triscuits and cheese and, crackers or maybe some chips or pretzels or whatever it was. And I was pretty disciplined about it. I was like, I'm just not going to do this. And I wanted to do it to see how it would, how it would affect me. And I can really lose the weight I want to lose. And then when I got to that point, I don't want to say I'm going to go back, but then you can have one or two things, then you can have an ice cream once in a while. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, I'm going to deprive myself of all this stuff and, live a life that doesn't allow for flexibility and fun and you're on vacation or whatever. I didn't want to do that, but I wanted to do it for sure to begin with so I could see the results and then recognize, okay, now maybe I can do a little bit of this after the fact. I thought that was a decent plan. I wasn't on some crazy strict diet, but I just want to cut out a lot of junk.
Yeah. I was talking to a coworker today about the same exact thing. He's trying to lose weight right now, and he's doing intermittent fasting. He has a 8-hour window when he can eat throughout his day. So he's eating from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And, he was saying the same thing. I'm not eating the junk food at nighttime, like just going into the kitchen and just pantry raiding. Right.
Right.
So, and I was talking to him about that, and I was saying, we don't think about, you go into the pantry and you grab some snacks and you think they're so harmless, but that snack is putting you potentially in a caloric surplus. This is what might be, these little increments might be adding up over time and making you gain weight. So yeah, it's like the junk food that we eat at nighttime that we don't think about, that has a lot of the processed crap in it. And yeah, that cutting that stuff out can really help you maintain, a good weight. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about calories. So, I was doing a lot of research on this recently. Most personal trainers say if you want to lose weight, you want to be in a 500 calorie deficit every single day. And every single week that you're in a 500 calorie deficit, you'll burn off 1 pound of body fat. And you lost, what was it, 34 pounds?
Yeah, I was up to 220. Like I know that. I weighed myself. I'm like, it was either 219 or 220, and I was like, I got to get down to 190. And I ended up weighing myself. I waited like 10 days in between, like the one I did and then the last one, and then I stepped on the scale, and I bought a new scale, a very precise scale, and I was down to 186. And I was like, oh boy. Actually, I ended up losing a few more than I wanted, but I was very excited about it. So it's 34 pounds. But to your point, I could totally see it because I did one other app. It was called Run Tracker. And so I used that, and that would at least give me an idea when I finished my run of how many calories I had burned. I'd walk a little bit, I'd run, and I'd walk. And so I came back in many a days where it said 1,159 calories, 1,100 calories, 988 calories. I'm like, perfect, because I'm now not eating that junk, so there's another 250, 300, 400, 500. You don't think about it, right? When you look on the back of chips, 160, yeah, times 3 servings that you had, so there's your 500. And I'm like, it's no doubt that I was able to do it, because I'm like, wait a minute, I just took in 500 less calories. That's just from the crappy snacking. And I just ran and burned off 1,000 calories. So to your point, I thought I had a decent, run there
Deficit
of what
that
you're talking about.
you put yourself in. Yeah, you put yourself in a calorie deficit, which is literally the key to weight loss. So many people will blame, their genes or something. Hey, I can't lose weight because, I was given bad carbs. And, almost, 99.99% of the time, it's not the case, right? It comes down to the law of thermodynamics, calories in versus calories out. And you were putting yourself at a decent calorie deficit. So my question to you would be, how quickly did you lose the weight? Like, was there like a week that it just like a lot of it went down? Or was it steady? Like, what would you say
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, so here it is. I mean, I got this. I got another app. It's from the scale. So like I if you can't really see it through here, but it shows like the little graph. And so I started here April 27th. It was 204. Um, then like April 29th, it was down to 201. Let's see. It's going real slow, but then there was another couple days, like May. I mean, it went down. It went 203, 201, 200, 199, 197, 196, 194, 191. I was at 192. Then I went down to 186, and then I weighed myself 188. So I went up about another pound and a half or so. But yeah, that was about every 4 or 5 days. I kind of looked at it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do it every day. Maybe 3 or 4 days sometimes. But yeah, 2 pounds. I mean, I think that's pretty much, that's a lot, I thought, because, like you're saying, trying to lose 1 or 2 a week, right? I mean, I think I was definitely losing more than that per week.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Because I
Uh,
started this like end of March, like really consistently. So April and May. And then the last weigh in there, that 186 was like June, like middle of June. June
yeah.
18th, June 18th, 186.
And a lot of people who are, you did everything the right way. You designed a schedule for yourself. You started running. You started eating healthier. A lot of people notice that they'll do that, and you weighed yourself every 4 to 5 days. But if you had weighed yourself every day, there would be some days that you'd be 191, and then the next day 192, and then 191, and then 190, and then 191 again. So anybody who's watching this video, it's not always linear, right? Like there's some times where it'll go back up and then it'll come down again. As long as it's heading in the right direction, that's what we're looking for.
Well, I didn't want to do it every day for the fact that you just said. I'd be disappointed if nothing happened. You know what I mean? I was like, let me just stick to this plan. Then every 4 or 5 days, hit it, and I'm sure there's going to be positive results. So, I mean, do you think those trackers are accurate? By the way, like any one that you have, like the Apple Watch or with the phone. I had this in my pocket, or I was holding it as I was running. Are these pretty accurate in terms of like what calories that we may have lost or how far we ran? Do you think that's true or?
It's mixed, right? I think it's a good tool to have for a general baseline, but I don't think it's incredibly accurate. This is going to be a silly fact about myself, but I used to play the video game Rock Band. It's like the game is, you could play the drums virtually. And I would have my Apple Watch on at the time, and I would be playing the drums, and it was like, congratulations, you just burned like thousands of calories. And I was like, what? I was like, thousands of calories. I was like, I barely like broke a sweat. So, you could move your arms like this all day long and like think you're burning calories, but you're not fooling anybody but yourself.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, that's a little off there.
But yeah, but it is a good, baseline to have, right? For like somebody who was running, such as yourself, if you were counting it during a running span and you knew you were running, it was probably going to be pretty accurate.
Mhm. Anything else that you're trying to like say, or you tell other people about like what you're learning and all the different stuff that you're researching, or things that could help people without overthinking it, just be like, yeah, that's pretty simple. Why haven't I thought of that?
Yeah, so something I've been looking at recently was, we love to look at calories, and you know, I was just talking about calories in versus calories out, which, that's the general rule of thumb. But some foods are more like calorically dense than others. What I mean by that is, like, if you're eating, 20 grams of a chicken breast versus 20 grams of, let's just say, green beans, uh, those are going to translate completely different, like, calorie wise. So, some of them are like more water dense, and some of them will fill you up quicker. So what I'm trying to say basically is that, the foods that you're eating, like, you could count your calories all day long, but if you're eating processed junk,
Right.
you could count your calories, but you're probably going to be, going in the wrong direction if you're not eating, foods that are organic, eating lots of foods that are plant-based, vegetables, legumes, fruits. That's basically what I've been telling patients recently. I eat a whole food plant-based diet. 99% of my foods that I'm eating are coming from plants. But I don't think people should start off like that extreme, right? People are like, should I just like go all the way to that? And I'm like, no, just try increasing the amount of vegetables, fruits, and legumes that you're consuming throughout your day. As long as you have a decent amount of those on each plate throughout your day, you're going to notice like incredible differences throughout your day, energy level wise, stomach cramps. You're just going to feel generally better. You're like, I had a patient today tell me that they were like, yeah, I didn't even realize how bad I was feeling. I'm sure you could relate to this, Mike. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure how bad I was feeling until I started eating healthier. And I was like, wow, this is how I was supposed to feel.
Exactly. I mean, I totally, and then also not being tired and lethargic. I was like, what can I do here? I don't get it. Or I'd go to bed early one night. I would maybe get like 8 or 9 or 10 hours, and I'd still wake up feeling like crap. And I'm like, this can't be right. So you're right. It's all connected. I mean, it really is all connected. I mean, so now the one thing I'm trying to think about now is that I did lose a lot, and I'm like thinking, okay, what about muscle and toning? Versus weight loss and the balance you need to have there. I mean, I hope the gyms open up and we can get back, because I really do want to go back and do a little bit of weight training, because I do feel a little, I don't want to say weak, but I feel like I've lost a little bit of, body shape and muscle in regards to trying to lose.
Some of that lean muscle. Yeah. Anybody who like can't get back to their gym right now, you can do calisthenics at home, something like yoga, Pilates. There's tons of core workouts you can do to build up that lean muscle. And then also resistance bands. That's something that I recently invested in, and I couldn't recommend it anymore. It's what Tom Brady uses. You can have those just laying around in your house, and you could imitate a bicep curl using a resistance band and get similar results as, going to the gym. So that's definitely a good way to start putting back on some lean meat. Some lean muscle. Not
Yeah,
lean
I
meat.
want to have lean meat too, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
no,
know.
hey, it's funny you brought up Tom Brady, man. I was on the TB12 bandwagon. That was part of this too. I was reading up a little bit about what he does. I think it's amazing. I know you're familiar with it, because I hate to say when people just go, oh, well, yeah, when you get 40, and then it starts to go down. No, if you were doing this like when you were 25 or 30 or whatever, it has nothing to do with that. Like, you know what I mean? He's in the best shape, and I don't care that he's 42 or whatever. It's because he's been doing this for over a decade. Like, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, and he says he wants to do it for like another 3 years, and it's like, man, he would be one of the oldest QBs ever to do it. But he's doing everything the right way, right? He's eating predominantly plant-based foods. He's doing the resistance band training, which puts you at a lower risk of injury. And yeah, he's just kept his body in such good shape. He's prioritized it, and we see it with lots of athletes right now. LeBron James is doing it,
Yeah.
and Novak Djokovic, the tennis player, he's doing it. All of these athletes are starting to get on board with lifestyle changes and whole body, like addressing the whole body, not just hitting the gym and trying to pump weights and trying to get in like, as much muscle as possible.
I probably won't get down to LeBron's 7% body fat, but mine was at 20%. I think I did drop about 4 or 5% though, with all this.
Good. That's awesome.
That's,
So
I
you
mean,
were at what, 25%?
20 now. I'm down to 20%.
Right, but you were at
Yeah,
25%.
yeah, at least 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. So how long has it been? So you've been doing this since, you said, end of March.
yeah.
When did you start to notice, like, wow, like this is actually working?
Probably like in that first, first month or so. I mean, the first month where I was like, I was seeing, the weight loss go down. I was like feeling better. I was sleeping better. It was just, I don't know. It really started. It wasn't that long, So that's the one thing I'd say to people is like, if you could just do this, and be a little consistent with it, it's going to start to feel better, and then you're going to want to keep doing it. That's what happened to me. I was like, this is great. Like, I'm seeing the results, and that's what we want, right? We want all these results, and it makes us want to do stuff. So, yeah, it didn't take too long, to be honest with you.
I think you said the right word too, is you said consistent, and that's really what it is, right? You designed a schedule for yourself, and you stayed consistent with it, and yeah, you had incredible results. So I'm so proud of you. Like you came in, and I couldn't believe it. The look on your face, you're like, I did everything that we talked about in the old videos, and it worked. And I was like, yeah, there's a science to it, and all you need is motivation. So I guess that would probably be my last question for you. What motivation did you have? Like, what was your motivation?
Yeah, well, and I looked at myself from my TV games, man. And I saw these pictures, and my face is fat. Like, to be honest with you, I couldn't stand it. I was like, I did not like it one bit. I was like, this is unbelievable. I'm like, and I would weigh myself, and I'm like, this is not my weight. I should not look like this. Like, I really didn't. I mean, it just got to me, and I was like, I got to do something about this. So, thank you though for all your help too, and all the information, and because that's what helps get you started. And I never wanted to keep coming back in and giving you the same crappy update, like, oh, I hadn't done this yet, or, oh, great idea, Mike, or, no, you're absolutely right, but yeah, I'm still working on it. Like, it was annoying me so bad that, like, I hadn't made any adjustments or changes, and that people like yourselves would tell me these things, and it wasn't that hard. But until you got consistent, until you get disciplined, I was like, finally, now I can kind of go back in and say, yeah, I did what you said, and it's working out, and I'm feeling the way I wanted to feel. So it just made me feel good about it.
Yeah. And one thing that you said to me really resonated with me, about how basically a lot of your general aches and pains that you were feeling from, getting treated through us, they sort of, they diminished, right? If not went away completely. And, you can treat the body as much as possible, but doing things the right way in your own time is what's going to be proactive for your health into the future.
Thanks again. Yeah, I appreciate it. And hey, we'll have more talks in this. We're not done, right? We're just kind of getting started here.
Just getting started, Mike. Yeah. Next video, we're going to be buff.
All right, good. Yeah.
Bodybuilders. Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot. Hang in there, and I'll definitely see you soon.
All right, Mike. Good talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate it.